Hey everybody, welcome to another drive-through digital review. As you can see, I'm going to talk about Kingdom Builder today. Now this is a game I actually do not really care for in its physical board game form. But I've had some fun playing with it on the app here. You know, I've spent a lot of time playing this recently. And I should say that after a patch, this has actually become playable. When this was first released, it was very buggy, very slow and laggy. So I don't know what all they updated, but it definitely is much more playable and much more enjoyable now. So I figured I'd do another quick little walkthrough in case anybody was interested in and wasn't sure how this game played. So let's go ahead and start a game. So you can see I've got two players here. I got the AI set on medium. If I go into settings here, you can see sort of the gist of the game. Now there's three cards here that I've got set up to be random, and then four sort of special buildings or special abilities that will be achievable in the game. If you want, you can go through and set them to tailor them to your liking, but I like to just leave them random. So we'll go ahead and start the game, and I'll give a quick little overview of how this works. So the first thing to notice is the board here with the varying different types of terrain. You can see you've got mountains and desert and water and trees and all kinds of good stuff. Now this is going to be random each game. Basically what this is basically four sectors here that are randomly oriented and dealt from, I don't know, I think there's eight different ones that can be all positioned all kinds of different ways. And if we zoom in a little bit here, you're going to see some other features on the board here. You've got these little castle spaces here. And what you're going to be doing in the game is basically placing settlements out onto the board. If you place adjacent to a castle, you're going to get 3 points for each castle that you have a settlement next to. Also, there's going to be these locations. Now there's four different types of locations. So if we zoom back out here, we can see this sector over here has these two sort of little tower things. This side here has the different little Stonehenge things. There's different locations here. When you place one of your settlements next to these, you're going to get a little token over in the side here in your little player area. This is going to give you a special ability that you can do every turn. If we zoom in on our player area, we can tell a couple of features here. We can see the gold coins here, which are points. Currently we have 0. You don't actually score any points until the very end of the game when you total up all of a bunch of different things, which I'll explain in a second. And you start the game with 40 settlements, these little houses here. And you're going to play the game until one of the players runs out completely of their houses. And then also, each round you're going to draw a card, and that's going to match the terrain. And the computer here does a good job of outlining all the legal placements for terrain. So the first thing you're going to do every turn, or one of the things that you're going to have to do every turn, is place 3 of your settlements on terrain spaces matching this type here. So if I do that here, I'm going to go ahead and click this spot there. So there I've put out a settlement. Now you can see it's closed out all of this other terrain here. Now even though I've got this grasslands here, if I can, I have to place adjacent to one of my pre-existing settlements. So now I've got to place my other 2 for the turn. They've got to be adjacent to somewhere on the board. So as long as I've got a settlement out and I can place adjacent to it, the game is going to force me to place adjacent to it. And this is sort of a constriction, but it also drives a little bit of the strategy that's going to happen in the game. So I'm going to go ahead and place my other 2 settlements, because remember, every turn you have to place 3. And then I'm going to place this one next to this little location here. So I'm going to place that there. And you're going to see I'm going to grab that tile there. I'm going to get that and then draw a new card for my next turn. So on my next turn, you can see I've got also another grassland space, which isn't actually a very good thing. It's one of the issues I have with the game. I'll talk about that at the end. So here I can place, again, 3 settlements. You've always got to place 3 settlements on that location. And then I've got a special ability here that I can use. So if we zoom in a little bit here, we can see what this tile is going to give us there. So this one says build 1 settlement on a hex of the same terrain type as your terrain card. Build adjacent if possible. You usually always got to build adjacent to one of your pre-existing hexes there. So what this is allowing me to do is get out a 4th settlement on that same card. Now each of these different locations here is going to give me a different ability. So if I were to get a settlement adjacent to this, I'll take a look at that there. This is a tower here. It says build 1 settlement at the edge of the game board. Choose any of the 5 suitable terrain types, it doesn't matter, and you've also got to build adjacent if possible. Now if you don't have anything on the edge of the board, then you can put it wherever you want. So there's a variety of these different location tiles here in the game, and it's going to be random every turn, and they're going to help you in the strategy of the game is going to be maneuvering to use them to your best ability to get these settlements into key locations. Now where are you trying to get them? Well, again, you want to get some adjacent to castles because at the end of the game you're always going to get 3 points for each of these castle spaces here that you have a settlement adjacent to. But the main way that you're going to score points are these 3 cards here. And there's 3 cards hidden here at the top of the board. You can take a look at them there. These are going to be random also each game. And these are going to be the main way that you're going to score points. So if we take a look at this one here, this is an interesting one. Build settlements on many horizontal lines. So you get 1 gold or 1 point for each horizontal line on which you have built at least one of your settlements. So let's just take a look at the implications of that quickly. So basically each horizontal line, like so that you can see the hexes here all go on a horizontal line. So what you're going to do again is you're going to get 1 point for each of those lines that you have a settlement on. So basically you want to build hexes if you can from the top all the way down to the bottom. Let's take a look at another one here. So this one is create many settlement areas. So you get 1 gold or 1 point for each of your own separate settlements and for each separate settlement area. And then finally, build settlements next to mountains. You get 1 gold or 1 point for each settlement that is adjacent to a mountain. So you can see here we've got mountains. For each settlement that's around the mountains, I'm going to get points. So I'm going to get points for building basically a straight line almost, going from top to bottom, the ones around the mountains. And then I also want to group them in small little groups because remember the hermit card is going to give me points for each separate little settlement area. So the game's going to basically throw a real big wrench at you in the fact that you're only going to be able to draw 1 card and you have to place 3 of them in that terrain type. So you can see here I've got a lot of grassland that I could place. I could try to get the different areas because remember in this case I'm trying to group them in as many small different areas. I'm trying to build one on each of these sort of lines of hexes and I'm trying to build around the different mountains. But I have the restriction that I have to build next to pre-existing. So I'm kind of locked in here. So I'm going to go ahead and place a settlement there. But now, since I'm restricted to this type, I can't actually build next to any pre-existing. So now I've opened up all this area. So knowing that the goals that are in play here, I need to be real careful about where I go and build these. Now these cards are not going to be your friend. So if I build, let's say, just for argument's sake, I'm going to build here next to this castle because I want to get the points for that at the end of the game. See, now I'm locked in again. So if I go here, I'm going to place that there. So now if I draw a forest, a grasslands or the little flower lands here, I'm going to be locked into placing the houses here. You're not always going to be able to place where you want to place. But as you acquire these special tiles here, for building adjacent, they're going to give you little keys and ways to maneuver and try to get around the restrictions placed on you by the card. And I will say that the AI in here is fairly decent. I'm playing against a medium now and I probably about a 50% rate that I lose and win. So I'm not the greatest player in the world, but I have been watching the AI and kind of watching how it sort of makes its choices, which tiles it gets, how it uses the tiles, and then when it uses the tiles, because you can actually use the tile ability before you place your mandatory 3 settlements. So it's very interesting. Now these tiles are going to do a lot of different things. Some of them you're going to be able to pick up and move a pre-existing settlement 2 spaces down. Some of them you can actually move them into water, which you normally can't do. There's a whole variety of different effects that you can kind of play with and learn here. Now after you play it several times, it's going to kind of come down to the luck of the draw, because you can get a card that's just like, it's not helpful to you at all. You're wasting placements that really are not going to help you score points, with these 3 cards here. That's just going to be the way it is. And I think that's why I enjoy this more than when I play it in person. When I play it here, it takes me 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes to get through a game. I don't mind losing, by a few points, or I lose one of these categories in a big way, because sometimes I feel like I get screwed, and there's sometimes that I make a mistake as well. But to sit through a 45-minute game, or maybe even an hour if you're playing with new people in person, it's just not a good experience for me. But if you're on the fence about Kingdom Builder in general, I've kicked around the idea, I should say, about actually buying a physical copy. I've played the physical copy probably 5 or 6 times. I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to live with the iPad app here. But I think as an iPad, as a digital app, this is an excellent filler little game. It is interesting. There are certain games that are very rewarding, and you're going to come down to a very close score and being able to properly use all of these bonus tiles, because as you collect these, you're going to be able to do nice little tricks where you're kind of shifting, getting a bunch of your houses out and shifting them around and getting them in key locations, again based on these scoring cards here. So definitely check out the app. If you didn't like Kingdom Builder, which I did not, but I would say go ahead and try the app if you've got the ability to do so. So anyway, thanks.